The city burns around you. Sirens wail, glass shatters, and smoke curls into the night sky. You're sprinting, lungs screaming, when you hear it. Those footsteps. Heavy, relentless, getting closer. Nemesis, a 9-foot bioweapon built to erase you. Not just a monster, but a hunter that never stops. Walls mean nothing. Doors mean nothing. Time means nothing. Until your time runs out. Jill Valentine escapes it alive. But what if it was you? Could you survive the pursuit, the monsters, and the collapse of an entire city? By the end of this video, you'll know. We'll break down Jill's challenges, her survival strategies, and what real-world tactics could actually keep you alive. Hit like now, because Nemesis already knows where you are. Resident Evil 3 is set in the final hours of Raccoon City, a city already lost. Umbrella's T-virus outbreak has reduced it to chaos. Zombies stalk the streets, flames consume the skyline, and the US government has already authorized a missile strike to wipe everything away. You play as Jill Valentine, former STARS officer and one of the few who know the truth about Umbrella. That's what makes her dangerous. To erase her, Umbrella unleashes Nemesis, a bioweapon programmed to hunt down STARS members with terrifying precision. From the very first scene, Jill isn't fighting to survive. She's fighting against an execution order with teeth. The story isn't just Jill's. She meets Carlos Oliveira, a mercenary with Umbrella's private forces. Unlike many of his peers, Carlos genuinely tries to save survivors, and his partnership with Jill is one of the game's few sparks of hope. Together, they navigate collapsed subway tunnels, the police station, and a hospital overrun by bioweapons. Nemesis, however, is the shadow that never leaves. He doesn't appear just once. He stalks you throughout the game. One minute you're clearing a street, the next he crashes through a wall. His upgrades are horrifying. Tentacles that grab from distance, monstrous transformations that push beyond human shape. Each battle escalates, showing his relentless adaptability. The real tension comes from time itself. While Jill fights for her life, the government counts down to a missile strike that will erase Raccoon City and everything in it. The climax drags Jill deep underground into Umbrella's labs, where Nemesis mutates into his most monstrous form. Jill doesn't beat him with small arms. She turns the fight into a trap, using an experimental railgun to deliver the killing blow. Seconds later, she and Carlos barely escape before the missile vaporizes the city. Resident Evil 3 isn't a simple horror story. It's a survival under a ticking clock. Monsters are terrifying, but Nemesis represents something worse. The feeling of being relentlessly hunted, with no place safe, no weapon strong enough, and no time to rest. Question for you: in Jill's place, what's your first instinct? Fight, run, or hide? Close your eyes and step into her boots. The street smells of ash and rot. You turn a corner, and there they are. Zombies. Slow, staggering, but many. Jill doesn't waste ammo killing each one. She aims for legs, crippling them just enough to slip through. That's not just a game mechanic. In real-world combat, disabling mobility can matter more than finishing a target. It buys time, and in survival, time is everything. But zombies are only the beginning. Then come the hunters, bioweapons designed for speed and brutality. They leap, slash, and kill in seconds. Jill never meets them on their terms. She uses distance, corridors, stairwells, anything to control space. Now imagine this. You're in a quiet hallway, and you hear claws scraping concrete. A licker. It's blind, but it can hear your heartbeat. If you breathe too hard, it knows. If you step too fast, it strikes. But Jill knows patience. Move slow, control your breathing, pass silently. In real-world stealth training, fear makes you loud, control keeps you invisible. Not every enemy allows for stealth. The drained demos force you into panic-inducing scenarios. They latch, choke, and implant parasites. If you're infected, you have seconds to treat yourself with herbs or die. Jill doesn't hesitate. She reacts immediately, applying the cure and pushing forward. This matches survival medicine principles: recognition and rapid response. And then there's Jill's signature dodge. Done right, it's not just evasive, It's a counter. Time it perfectly and she fires back with a headshot. That's not just luck, that's discipline. This is called stress inoculation, the ability to hold off blind instinct just long enough to make a smarter move. Most freeze, others flail. Jill inserts control into chaos. Think about what that means. Zombies test your restraint, hunters test your spacing, lickers test your silence, parasites test your reaction speed. And Jill doesn't just scrape by, she demonstrates composure, patience, and efficiency. The most important part? Jill doesn't fight every battle. Sometimes the right call isn't victory, it's escape. That's a real survival principle too. In disasters, those who survive longest aren't always the strongest. They're the ones who conserve energy, avoid unnecessary fights, and reserve their biggest moves for moments that truly matter. A blind predator is hunting in the next room. Could you keep completely silent while your lungs beg for air? Comment below. Survival in Raccoon City isn't just about reflexes. It's about turning the chaos around you into an advantage. Jill doesn't fight the city, she uses it. Picture this. You're sprinting down a burning street, zombies staggering from the shadows, Nemesis is pounding after you, and you've got seconds to decide. Straight ahead into an open street, or duck into an alley lined with gas canisters. Jill doesn't just run blind, she uses the environment as a weapon. Open space gets her killed, tight geometry gives her leverage. This principle, in real-world urban combat, smaller teams have held off larger forces for days simply by funneling enemies into choke points, stairwells, or doorways. Jill's survival mirrors that. She can't overpower Nemesis, but she can lure him into spots where his size slows him down, where explosive hazards can be triggered at the perfect moment. Now let's talk resources. Carry too many herbs? You don't have room for ammo. Carry too much ammo? You're missing healing. Pack a grenade launcher? Great firepower, but it eats up precious space. Survivalists call this ounce counting. Every ounce in your bag has to earn its place. Now think about ammunition. In Resident Evil 3, bullets aren't equal. Handgun rounds are common, but weak. Shotgun shells hit hard, but they're rare. Magnum rounds? Devastating, but nearly priceless. Jill doesn't spray wildly. She reserves weapons for the right threats. This is exactly how real-world militaries think. What makes Nemesis terrifying isn't just his strength, it's the way he drains this system. You can fight him, but the cost is enormous. And yet, he always comes back. That's where the real tension lies. Do you spend your best resources now, buying seconds of relief? Or do you conserve, gambling that you can dodge him long enough to survive later? It's a psychological trick the game plays brilliantly. In real life, soldiers and survivalists call this decision fatigue. When every move has weight, your brain starts to tire. Jill doesn't have that luxury. She acts decisively, trusting her choices even when they're imperfect. That's why she lives. Jill's survival in Raccoon City isn't luck, it's logistics. Every bullet, every herb, every alleyway. She squeezes maximum value from minimum options. That's why she lives while others fall. Here's my challenge to you. Imagine your city is collapsing tonight. You can only grab 6 items for survival. What's in your pack? And what do you leave behind? Here's the hard truth. Nemesis isn't just another monster. He's a walking weapon. 9 feet tall, superhuman strength, rapid regeneration. He's designed to win. Head to head, you lose every time. But survival doesn't mean overpowering him. It means outsmarting him. First, mobility beats firepower. Jill never defeats Nemesis by simply shooting. She staggers him, slows him, and escapes. In real life, his size would be a liability. Narrow staircases, collapsed tunnels, rubble-filled streets. These become his prison. You don't win by matching strength. You win by forcing him where his strength doesn't matter. Second, patterns can be predicted. Nemesis doesn't attack randomly. He rushes, overcommits, then resets. Jill lives because she recognizes the rhythm. Survival psychology calls this reframing chaos. Panic blinds you. Calm lets you see patterns. Third, the environment is the real weapon. Jill uses gas tanks, explosives, and environmental hazards. In reality, the same principle applies. Lure him into fire, collapse a building, Trap him in confined zones where the environment does the damage your weapons can't. Finally, engineer the decisive strike. Jill ends Nemesis with a railgun, a weapon too heavy to carry, but perfect once he's trapped. That's asymmetric warfare. Survive long enough to create one decisive opportunity, then strike with overwhelming force. So, could you beat Nemesis? No, not in a fair fight. But could you survive him? Possibly. And in survival, that's victory. Raccoon City is more than a horror backdrop. It's a pressure cooker, designed to crush anyone who can adapt. Jill Valentine survives not because she's lucky and not because she's the strongest. She survives because she's disciplined. 3 truths define her edge. She controls her fear so her movements stay sharp. She treats every bullet and herb as life or death currency. And she turns the city itself into her greatest weapon. Nemesis isn't defeated by raw firepower. He's defeated by patience, timing, and environment. So now it's your turn. The sirens wail, the streets crack. Nemesis kicks down your door. Do you run? Do you fight? Or do you outthink him, turning your city into the trap that saves your life? Comment your answer below and subscribe for more survival deep dives. Because in Raccoon City, firepower fades, but discipline outlasts the nightmare.